Paranormal Buzz Radio is proud to present Girls vs. Ghost Media's Spooky Talk with Madison Smith from Madison Paranormal. You can find Spooky Talk every other Sunday, 6 Eastern, 5 Central, right here live on Paranormal Buzz Radio. Be sure to join in the live interactive chat by going to Spreaker.com or downloading the Spreaker app for all devices.
The views and opinions expressed in this podcast by the host or the guest do not necessarily reflect the views of Paranormal Buzz Radio or its sponsors. Use of any material produced by Paranormal Buzz Radio without express written consent is strictly prohibited. For information on everything Paranormal Buzz Radio has to offer, visit our website, paranormalbuzzradio.com. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and Instagram. Listener discretion is advised.
Ladies and gentlemen, here's your host, Madison Smith.
Hi everyone, I'm Madison Smith, and I would like to welcome you all to Spooky Talk with Maddie. Tonight's guest is someone I have not had the pleasure to meet yet, but is someone I am hoping to meet in the future, and and you would know him as one of the lead investigators on Ghost Hunters, and I would love to give him a very spooky welcome to Mustafa Gatollari.
There you go. You got the last name down correct.
Hey, I did it somehow. I did it.
Tremendous.
Yes. Okay. And hello, Matt, in the comments. Hello. Okay. So, just to start the show off, if anybody has any questions, just type them down in the comments, and I'll try to get to them. And if I do not see them, just spam them, you know. All right. Shall we begin? Thank you. So, how long have you been investigating, and when did you first figure out you wanted to investigate?
Been investigating for going on 16 years now, 15, 16 years. I knew I wanted to investigate right around the time I started getting the itch for looking into the paranormal when I was a teenager, around 14 years old, 15 years old. And I just we grew up in a haunted house, my family and I, and we had some really crazy stuff going on. But I wanted to see if I could get to the bottom of that phenomenon that happened there. I wanted to see if, my family and we really experienced what we experienced. And I was also kind of sick and tired of my folks always blaming all their personal problems on the ghosts that were in the house. So I'm like, I'm going to go prove these things don't exist. So I went and I started investigating, started researching, I should say, and that's kind of where my love for investigating started. And then when I was 18 years old, around 18, 19, that's when I started learning that there were people who actually would actively investigate places they believed were haunted. And from then on, that's when I decided I wanted to do it. But yeah, I would say my fascination with the paranormal started when I was about 4 years old.
All right. And do you remember your first experience, per se, that you've had in that house?
Yeah, it was actually the first night that we had moved into the home. It was in New City, New York. I remember we moved in, and my older brother and I were in our bedroom, and we're laying down on the floor. Our mattresses were on the floor. We hadn't fully moved in yet, and we were sleeping, and we heard a bunch of noises from beneath us. So we get up, and we go, and we're walking down the stairwell, and we're turning the corner, and some noises are getting louder and louder and louder. And when we looked into the kitchen, we saw all of the cabinets in the kitchen opening and closing by themselves. And, after we picked our jaws up off the floor, we were really more excited than anything. I guess our mom had heard it too. And she came downstairs and she saw it as well. And she freaked out and started speaking in Albanian to my dad. And I knew that's whenever it was like something serious. Is whenever mom and dad are talking Albanian, the language of the old country, then, stuff was getting real. So, that was the first paranormal experience I ever had.
Wow.
Yeah,
Alrighty.
Pretty great.
I can tell. All right. So, were your family okay with you investigating the paranormal, or did you really just have to hide it from them?
They didn't want me to meddle in it. At first, they were highly superstitious. They didn't really think that there were ghosts that were causing the paranormal activity in our house, but rather jinn. Jinn in the Islamic tradition are these other entities, and they could be good or they could be bad, but they generally thought that these were bad jinn in our house. So they're like, don't mess around with that stuff. You're going to end up possessed. And I don't know. I believed in jinn and stuff back then, but I never really thought that jinn were the cause of problems. I mean, people are bigger scumbags, I think, than any demon could be. So I was like, okay, well, I feel like, if there is something paranormal, it's probably just a person. So I just did it anyway, smile and nod and just did whatever I wanted to do. I lied to them. I told them I wasn't doing it. And then I just did it anyway. So I guess the message to kids out there is lie to your parents if it's for a good reason. Sorry, that's a terrible message. But yeah, that's what I did. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. That's exactly what I did. I'm not saying that everybody should do that. I'm not saying everybody should do that. That's what I did.
Next time I do something, I'm just going to use that.
Oh, God. That's like that Drake lyric. I wasn't hiding my kid from the world. I was hiding the world from my kid. He gave an excuse to deadbeat dads everywhere. So, I'm not saying that. Your parents are generally right. Please, don't listen to me. Don't follow my advice. I'm not a good example.
Well, there's people who are worse examples than you. I can tell you that.
I guess.
I'm sorry. I've seen teachers that were way worse than you. It was so stupid. All right. So let's see the comments. Okay. So there's no questions in the comments so far, basically. Just a little chat. So, okay.
That's fine.
Yeah. So how did you get on with the Ghost Hunter crew?
Pretty good. I would say it was interesting how I got cast for the show. It was, to my understanding, the majority of the people who were asked to come out to LA to screen test for it, were actually approached by them. I was the only person who got on the show who sent in an audition tape. A friend of mine had seen an email or a posting somewhere, and he had sent me an email. He said, "Hey, I know you're into paranormal." And I had done my name's Mustafa, so I always get cast as terrorist number 6 in these TV shows and stuff. So I was it's good money. You go and you play a bad guy and you get blown up or arrested or something, and you make a few grand, and that's great. So I would, he was like, "Hey, you know what it's like to work on a professional set, and you love the paranormal. Why not apply?" So at first I was kind of hesitant about doing it, just because I really enjoyed investigating the paranormal for myself, and it wasn't really something that I wanted to combine with my entertainment career, so to speak. But I said, "Why not? Let me just apply." So I applied, and then they wanted to see an audition tape, and then I started getting really nervous, but in the right way, you ever get those butterflies when something matters to you a lot. So I was okay, this is, yeah, you know what I mean? that's like the good kind of nervousness. I would say if you find yourself getting nervous for like a good reason like that, like something that matters to you, then that's when you double down. So that's what I did was like, okay, I kept doing auditions. I kept doing audition tapes. I didn't like how I came off. I didn't like how I came off. I didn't like how I came off. So I did like 13 different kind of tapes for that. And then I finally found one that I liked. And then I created one that I liked, I should say. And then I sent that out. And they flew me out there. And at first I was kind of very, I was very, I guess people would say, I mean, Rochelle would say I was a jerk, like on the audition. Like I wasn't really talking to anybody. I wasn't really going out of my way to make anybody feel comfortable or like necessarily like if they said something that I didn't find funny or interesting, I wouldn't pretend like it was. I was just very kind of, all right, let me do my own thing. I'm not going to hang out with you guys. I'm not going to really talk with you because I don't want to get too buddy with people who were effectively my competition, you know, because I didn't know how many people they were casting for the show. So I didn't want to go and try to placate other people and make them be all friendly with me when I didn't know these people. I didn't trust any of them. I shouldn't trust any of them because I had no idea who they were. But I will say from day one, I really, when we were doing the screen test, I got along with Brandon immediately. It was this kind of really instant thing where he understood where I was coming from. I understood where he was coming from. And we just got on swimmingly right away. And then after I'd say they didn't let us know who got cast. We didn't know who was going to be on the show until we all met at an airport in, I think, Atlanta. And then I saw that there were a lot of people there. And there was actually somebody who they initially cast for the show, but she was sent home, who was there too. So there was going to be like another member of the team. But I just think there was just too many people, so they sent her back home. And but we got along really well. I mean, we're pretty much, you know, it's like your family away from home. Yeah. Sorry, that's a really long answer, but it needed some back history and context.
Yeah. Well, that's really nice. Okay. So, what is it like to be the historian of the group? Where do you get most of your information from?
So, there's the show. I'll explain it like this: like the reality television shows, and I'll speak about ours. Is like there's a whole production team that helps with the research. They are fielding. Sorry about that plane. They are fielding responses from different people who are telling them, "Hey, we have a location that's haunted." So they receive submissions all the time. So they field them, and we have some really talented producers: John Fitzpatrick, Jen Friesen, Kaylin Hadley. There's a bunch of great people who worked on the show for Pilgrim Studios, who compiled a lot of information. They helped find witnesses, and they did all that. That being said, once we know which location we're going to be on, and once they told us where we're going, I would go and conduct my own research, and I would call up local county records offices. I would try to talk to the people beforehand and find out as much information as I could from witnesses beforehand. But what I would mostly do is I would just conduct my own research that would start with, you know, family histories. Brandon told me about these Sanborn fire maps, and that can tell you a lot of information about a location. I would check geographical information. What's the land made up of here? You know, when we were in Willimantic, Connecticut, limestone, there was a lot of limestone deposits underneath the house. Turns out that there's a long-standing paranormal theory that limestone is a natural conductor of paranormal energy, right? Ghostly activity. And as it turns out, there was a lot of residual activity that we proved was there, that we documented was there, I should say. It seemed like it was definitely outside the realm of normal scientific understanding. So Yeah, and that, like, all of these little things, it's like when you have that information and you put that in there, that helps. Plus, the other thing that you can't rule out as a historian, a lot of people think that, like, it's really cut and dry and it's boring. So there is that kind of clinical element to it, right? You need to extricate yourself from a situation emotionally in order to, just get the facts. You might hear about a story of somebody who was murdered in a location or somebody who died somewhere, and automatically, ooh, I'm a paranormal investigator. This is the kind of stuff we want to go after, the ghostly stuff. That being said, a lot of times that you'll go in there and investigators will try to force that narrative, and they'll think anything that's going on here is directly related to this death or this, story about a star-crossed lover who killed themselves because they couldn't be with the boy or girl of their dreams. And, but I think, as long as you keep yourself, for the most part, like, emotionless in your research, that'll lead you to, some really, really interesting finds. However, there have been some cases where when you do find yourself striking an emotional connection with a particular story, especially when it comes to, and again, this is going to sound corny, but whenever it comes to, like, matters of the heart, Worley Hospital in Pampa, Texas, Mary Louise Myers, Mary Lucille Myers, I think, she was, she was having trouble at home or with her husband, and she had tried to commit suicide twice in one day and succeeded the second time. Like, that's a highly emotional thing. So it's not just like, oh, there was some guy who was in a really bad accident who died at this hospital. If it's a hospital, of course it's going to have a lot of deaths. But what's the emotional connection? And I was reading that story, and that struck a chord with me, and we got some pretty good evidence that that's who's there. So that wouldn't have happened if I didn't, try to make an emotional connection with the history. So it's a balancing act. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And by the way, hi, Darren. Welcome back. Okay. So far, what has been your favorite location that you've been to?
Gosh, it depends on the day. It depends on the day. Most recently, I would say, the Halsingland Hotel in Alaska is high up there, along with Fort Stanton, New Mexico. I mean, I'll just say, like, this, they're in no order. I mean, Halsingland Hotel in Alaska, Fort Stanton, New Mexico, Galena Marine Hospital, and Worley Hospital in Pampa, Texas. Those four places it's a toss-up on any given day between those spots. I really love them. Halsingland Hotel in Alaska, because of the experiences that Daryl and I had on that top floor. They didn't even show, I would say, 70% of the stuff that happened to us up on that floor. Fort Stanton, obviously, that incredible EMCCD camera, the electron multiplying camera footage that Brandon and Brian documented. Galena Marine Hospital, that, we bring in a steamboat captain, we have him talking to a steamboat captain from the past, and, nothing's going on. And when we bring this guy in here who can relate to the people who would stay at that hospital, and sure enough, the first time he ever was in a paranormal investigation, with the first time he attempts to talk to someone there, boom, we start getting activity. That was pretty cool. Daryl and I were looking at each other like, what the hell? It was crazy. It was like it was insane. Plus, we also, as we were experiencing stuff, Brandon and Brian outside ended up seeing someone on the top floor of the hospital. And then, of course, Worley Hospital in Pampa, Texas was just, the sustained communication that Brandon and I had with Mary over there was just, it was astounding. I'll never forget that. So yeah, those are the ones that I'll probably remember the most vividly, just off the top of my head.
All right, that's pretty cool. So let's see. I'm trying to make up a question. All right, let's see. The comments have anything yet? Because Darren's here. Okay. Question.
Oh yeah, you good?
Okay. What half of the U.S. you find more haunted? I was like,
oh, that's tough. That's tough. I don't think it's really by region. I don't think it's fair to do it by region. I think there are a lot of different factors that need to be. I think it's environmental and historical. So one thing we noticed in season 2, and a lot of the locations that we investigated in season 2, what was the common theme? What was the common thread? And that was isolation.
mm-hmm.
That seclusion, right? That lack of a constant. There wasn't a lot of people there. There weren't. They haven't had a lot of visitors for extended periods of time. Something about that. Something about the fact that this place has been desolate for so long yielded probably the most significant paranormal finds that I've ever encountered. Ever. Like I had never prior to investigating on the show, I'd never even gotten close to experiencing what I experienced on Ghost Hunters. I was thinking we were going to go in and it was going to be a whole lot of nothing, which was a lot of my paranormal investigative experiences. However, the more that I investigated on the show, we went to these places, I was just like, really? I mean, I was at an event over the weekend in Bainbridge, Pennsylvania, the Haldeman Mansion, and we were in a room investigating with people, and I'm always very suspicious, and we were getting like what sounded like it's just knocks and direct responses to our questions. So I had everybody put their hands up in the room. I was like, I feel like someone's messing with me. This is like way too on cue. But no, it kept happening. So we're very, very. There were times on the show where I would go up to producers and people there. I was like, hey, what the hell? I mean, I would want to see like footage, or while other people were investigating, I'd keep an eye on producers because I wanted to make sure no one was messing with us. And it turns out, no, they weren't. Like it was really, really, because I've heard horror stories from people from other shows, and not horror stories that you want to hear, like ghosts and stuff, like horror stories of producers like throwing rocks and stuff like that to like scare people. So I can't recall. I mean, the entire production, it was all legitimate. And from the first episode to the last one that we filmed, I was constantly just making sure people weren't messing with us. And they never were.
Well, it's nice to know. All right. And then Darren also wants me to tell you that he's walking in a cemetery and listening. Don't know why.
Oh, wow.
But hey. And then he's in the 1800s part.
Oh, very cool.
Dedication. How to make everything scarier. Just walk into a graveyard and just listen to this. Wish that I had a graveyard near me, like walking distance, so I could just be like, hey guys, But now can't do that.
I don't know. If I was a ghost and I had free reign to go where I would, I probably wouldn't hang out in a cemetery. I'd probably be in the arcade messing with people, like helping a kid like win like a big cash prize. I'd go to casinos and stop slot machines so people could win big. Like, if I saw someone down on their luck, like I'd stop a slot machine for them so they could go get like a nice big payout. That's probably what I would do.
I honestly don't even know what I would do. I'd probably just haunt somebody that I know. I would just haunt somebody that I know and
with your friends.
Mess around. Or I know where I would be. At a dog shelter, like an animal shelter.
Oh yeah.
I would be with those dogs. I would be jamming out with those dogs.
That's tremendous.
Like all the dogs would probably like be so confused, but I would just be like, I have friends.
Yeah.
Finally, after all this time, I have friends. All right. Back to the questions. So, So I was watching one of the episodes from, why can I never pronounce it? Clifton, Arizona.
Clifton, Arizona.
Yeah. So how crazy was it to investigate a place with so much activity?
Yeah, I mean, so it's interesting. Like Clifton, there are specific parts that had a lot of activity, and Clifton was interesting because of the history of the place, and there was like some drama that may have occurred with some of the people who lived there, and there's some stuff that happened, where we thought like, there was like maybe somebody who didn't want us there, or a group of people who didn't want us there. I think, yeah, I mean, Clifton, I had a great experience with the people for the most part who lived there, and the activity itself is, I'm never jaded by it. A lot of people that would say like, oh, don't you get like used to it? And I'm not. However, we were there for 2 weeks, and the activity that occurred in Clifton over the course of those 2 weeks were, of course, it was a lot when it's edited down to a show. But what you have to understand is we were there for away from our homes, away from our families for a prolonged amount of time, and we're reviewing evidence, and we're even Brandon and Brian on the weekend for like 36 hours had to fly out to they had to go and like film something else real quick and come back. So they had like, it was a long stretch of time for everybody. So it's weird. Like it's interesting to me. I guess what I'm getting at is it's interesting to me that like you think that you're saying like your perception is Clifton had a lot of activity. For me, it's like, when I think of like a lot of activity, Clifton's not the first place that comes to mind. And I think it's because I was there for 2 weeks. But looking back on it now, that activity kind of, it was significant. Like those photon events that Brandon and Brian captured was phenomenal. The EVP that Rochelle, Kristen, and Grant captured over there, the little girl here, that one, that was phenomenal. That was really, really good. I'd say with Clifton, the craziest part about it was just being in a place that is a town that had such a violent history, and a lot of that contributed to it. So for me, the real craziness factor was, that big question mark of like, were we really targeted, quote unquote, by a group of people there or something? I don't know. I think it was just a really rough couple of weeks. But did you like the episodes? Yeah, it's you. I'll ask you a question. What did you think about Clifton? What did you think about it?
It was really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What struck you the most? Like when you saw it, like what really intrigued you?
Probably the EVP.
The EVP, right?
Yeah.
And the Elks Lodge? Yeah, that one's crazy. I'm a big sucker for EVPs, man. I really like that. I just think with Clifton, you're in a place where so many people lived and died, like they spent their entire life there. And that's like just generations of families maybe that stayed in that area. So I think that there's something to be said about that in a lot of these haunts, quote unquote, Yeah.
Okay, so we have 4 new questions from Darren. Okay, so first question, what's your favorite device at the present time?
Okay, it's a toss-up between our Zoom ambisonic microphones. They have basically four microphones in a little cluster, gives you 360-degree sound. We've caught tremendous EVPs on those things, and they're worth every penny. I would say that, and I love that, and I love the data logger. It's EDI Plus. It basically just packs in a lot of different environmental detection. Sorry for the plane. UPS doing the Lord's work, delivering packages. But the EDI data loggers are just basically a bunch of different environmental detectors in one package. You want an EMF detector? Great, it's there. You want something to detect changes in barometric pressure? That's there too. Temperature? That's there. Plus, it also detects vibration, and it records and graphs all of that data. So for an investigator, it's great because it's a tool, because you have two types of tools while you're investigating, right? You have real-time tools, and then you have tools that you review after the fact. The EDI data logger is both. It'll give you direct feedback if there's, an environmental change, but at the same time, you can go back and review it. And what's great about them is you can't mess with them. There's a lot of like analog tri-fields that, you can key off with a walkie-talkie, or, you can, they'll get contaminated and they'll go off. Some motion detectors, they get keyed off with walkie-talkies too. Maybe a cell phone might set them off. So you need to have the most shielded, devices that you can. So I think, in terms of like, you can get a data logger. The only way to really mess with it is if you just directly blow on it. Mm-hmm. So, you obviously test your equipment and your devices in any situation, but yeah, it's those two. Sorry, my answers are very long, but I like to provide reasoning for my choices, if that's okay.
It's fine. Use as much time as you want. I don't mind. Okay.
Good.
So, question 2.
Because I'm not going to stop. Yeah.
Okay. So this one's a little bit off. How do you feel about pregnant going on investigation and the chances of a woman or baby getting possessed?
How do I feel about pregnant people going on investigations? I don't know. I don't know. I guess people can do whatever they want. I'm never going to be pregnant, so I can't really comment on that. I mean, unless there's some really crazy changes, and I I don't know, but like, it's not. I don't think it's really my place to say. In terms of a baby getting possessed inside somebody, that's great imagination. I don't know, that's probably a great idea for a horror film right there. Possessed baby, but I don't know necessarily if I believe in possessions personally. I don't know if I believe in them. I think I've seen, when I was in Eastern Europe, I've met someone who was apparently possessed, and just kind of seemed like he had mental problems. And I'm not saying that's the case for everybody, and I'm not like knocking the fact that he has mental problems. I mean, people have mental conditions. People are prone to outbursts. Even, quote unquote normal people will have a confluence of really bad days. I mean, listen, I've seen people in really bad relationships after 2 drinks in the bar completely flip out. And you would think that they were possessed from the way that they were acting. That's a little, you're a little young for that, Madison, but let's say it's, I've seen people, whether under the influence or just a lifetime, years and years of not doing what they want, years and years of, trying to make a relationship that's doomed work, and it doesn't. And, there's just things that they ignore about themselves and their significant others, and they refuse to claim any personal responsibility for why they're miserable. Like, I think that has more to do with possession, quote unquote, than like a demon. I'm very, very against the idea of like people blaming demons for bad things that happen, or evil spirits for bad things that happen. I mean, that's the entire reason why I got into investigating the paranormal. I was sick and tired of people saying, like, oh man, I don't have any money and I'm cursed. Like, no, you're not cursed. You're lazy. You don't, maybe, don't invest in stocks that you have no idea about. And you don't have, I know people who like go and lost a ton of money on them. I'm cursed. It's like, well, why are you investing in the stock market? You own a pizzeria. Like, like, not that there's anything wrong with that, but you're not going to go ask a guy who worked on Wall Street how to make a good pizza pie. Why are you messing around with stocks?
or like, oh man, I'm sick all the time. It's like, well, you eat fast food every single day. Like every single day. And you don't order the healthy stuff, but, or like maybe you're not sick because there's a demon that's like peeing in your cereal. It's because you're eating like garbage. Like maybe, look into that. So I always try to look at practical solutions for that kind of stuff. So, yeah. I mean, a pregnant woman wants to go investigate. Let her go investigate. It's not my place to say she can't. And I don't think her baby's going to be possessed either.
So the third question, do you believe in holy water, or is it just water?
I don't know. I can't really say. I mean, you have to look at it like this. Whatever. I'll express 100%. Every single person who's very, very, very adamant and passionate about their personal religion is 100% convinced that their personal religion is the right one, and that all of these demons, the demonology and the supernatural stuff associated with it is, yes, Muslims, it's a jinn, Christians will be like, it's a demon, Jewish people would be like, it's dybbuk, and it does this, and this is how you get rid of a dybbuk, and Muslims will be like, this is how you protect yourself against the jinn, and, certain sects of Christianity, if they believe in demonology, and I'm pretty sure if you ask Hindus or Buddhists or about, where everybody's got their own thing and everybody thinks that their religion's right. But what you have to understand is that a lot of these concepts and a lot of these demon things, names that we attribute them and all of that stuff is created by man. It's created by us. We've created all of this. We created it all. I'm not saying that there isn't a God. I'm not saying that there aren't angels. I'm not saying any of that. But what I'm saying is how we interpret it is contingent on religion by religion. And even within the religion, there's different sects, and then there's cultural things that happen that kind of get infused with it and stuff like that. So you have to really, 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 I mean, there's places in Norway where to this day people believe in elves, and they do believe that there are elves that exist, and that's so you have to. And I'm not saying that that's wrong or untrue or whatever, but I'm just saying, like, some people might think one belief that's associated with a particular culture is outrageous, but then again, but mine is right. So again, you have to ask yourself this, right? If you're going in to attack a demon or exorcise a demon and you have holy water, one that's predicated on the idea that whatever belief system that you subscribe to is one that's inherently right, and this is the right one, and that I've infused this water, which is a necessary component of life, biologically speaking, and that because you said a few words in a language that's relatively new in the course of in relation to the cosmos, and it's part of a belief system that's transmuted and changed and been reinterpreted over hundreds of years. I don't know. I don't know what that is. Now, I can say this: when I've gone into investigations with a certain mindset, and I go into an investigation with a particular mindset, and I try to come at a place of understanding and sincerity and honesty, I've always had better results. I've always had, and I'm not talking about like, I made the ghosts come and have tea with me. I mean, like, it was just the investigation. It seemed like the data that we gathered was always more consistent, and it was better. So can you imbue an object, whether it's water or a pair of sneakers, I don't know, or holy sneakers, I don't know, like, can you imbue it with a positive feeling or positive energy? I think so. I really do. I think so. I don't know how. I can't explain how that would work. I can't even begin to, but maybe. maybe. So does holy water work? I don't know. I have no idea.
Well, that was a very deep explanation.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry. Yeah, there's no way I could know. But I don't think so, personally. I'll just say that. In my personal opinion, I don't think so, for the reasons as I just listed.
Okay, let me see. Okay, so the fourth question, which there is more since he likes to post a lot.
That's fine.
What are your views on shaman, and what do they bring to an investigation?
Shaman?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. I don't know. I've investigated with people who say that they're empaths. I guess that'd be like the closest thing I could get to that. And people who say that they're psychics. I've met some people who truly seem to be psychic and truly did have gifts for things. And I was like, hold up, that's kind of crazy. How did you arrive at this? And then I met some people, like, I'll say, like, early on when I was doing the show, someone was like, oh, Mustafa, your grandmother was reaching out to you from the other side. In this particular case, I said, well, my grandma's alive. And then the lady's like, no, I meant the one from your mom's side. And I said, she's alive too. And then they're like, oh, I met your great grandmother. And I'm like, okay, well, when did she die? A long time ago. How long? I'm like, okay, on which side? They're like, well, your dad's side. She died a long time ago. I said, well, actually, no. She lived to be like 121. I was like 26 when my great grandmother died. And so she goes, oh, I must have been mistaken. It must have been like. So I feel like that there are some, you know what I mean? Like there are some who are definitely kind of pulling the wool over people's eyes. But then I have met a couple who are actually, you know, they have something about them, you know, and I can't put my finger on it, but they're in tune to certain things. And it's pretty great. It's really cool. It's really interesting.
Yeah. If I try to tell somebody's future, it would be really off.
I'm always right about people's futures all the time.
You'll be alive tomorrow. Whoa, really? Never expected that.
No, I don't tell them that. I'm like, oh, what's in their future? I'm like, you're gonna die. That's in your future. You're gonna die one day.
Why have I actually said that multiple times?
You're gonna die. Yeah. Yeah, your kids, them too. Everybody, your dog's dead. Cat, guess what? Dead too. Everybody, you're all gonna. Every single one of you will be dead. That guy who's riding his motorcycle across the highway right now, making a racket, he'll be dead. Don't know when, but it's gonna happen.
Well, you're not wrong. Okay. So this one,
yeah.
Jack, not gonna lie, like that actually was pretty funny. Okay. All right. So this question is from Mama Deb. What type of places do you like to investigate in your own personal time?
I got to tell you, I really, really have an affinity for classic, these days, like classic Americana places that have a very important place in our nation's history. Haldeman Mansion, Samuel Haldeman, he came from like a really rich and esteemed Dutch Pennsylvanian family. This guy like helped write the dictionary with Webster. And then how arrogant this dude is. He's just like, all right, cool. I just basically helped create modern language as we know it. Like so much so that like snooty British people were like, my dear, this man is highly talented. And they gave him praise for, you know, if you have an English person telling you that you made the English language better and you're not English, you're pretty smart. Like, you're a pretty smart person, especially back in those days, to get someone to say that. And this was like, you know, America was still being referred to as the colonies by the British. So it's pretty pretty impressive. Not only did he do that, but he helped lay the groundwork for Charles Darwin's theory of evolution. And that came to him because he was just, as a kid, as a youngster, he'd be walking up and down the lake near his house, and he'd see these little mollusk shells, and he noticed that they were like slightly different, even though they're the same species. So then he started talking about the transportation of species, and so anything that has to do with, I think, our nation's history, I think that's why Fort Stanton holds a place near and dear in my heart. So anything that has like those deep emotional connections, anything having to do with like a family name is huge to me, you know?
Mm-hmm. Okay. So now for the next question, which is back to Darren. What is one object in the world you will never want to be haunted?
An object I would never want to be haunted?
Yep.
Probably my son's toys. It would just break his heart. You know,
Chucky
can't play
rewritten.
with his... Oh no, like his Jurassic Park, his Jurassic World Legos. He loves them. So like, I don't think he'd be able to stop playing with them. He'd be like, I know this thing's trying to kill me, but I just need to play with it. So yeah, I wouldn't want my son's Jurassic World Legos to be haunted. It'd break my heart.
Yeah. So I know that I usually say bacon for this subject, but I don't want my Ghostbuster stuff to be possessed at all. Because, like, I have some of the good vintage stuff. I literally have two Ecto-1s from the real Ghostbusters.
Are you serious?
Yeah, bro.
I still have the original, I still have the original, their headquarters.
Oh my god, yes.
I'll send you pictures of it. I'll send you pictures of it.
I don't even know, but, like, I just want one so bad. I'm just like, Dad.
It's tremendous. There's like a little grate on the top, and it would come with slime, so you could put like, oh no, it's the ectoplasm coming through. It's great. It still works. Like the fire pole on it still works. All that stuff. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, like there's only one thing that's flawed in it, and that's because the containment unit is in the basement, and it's on the main floor for some reason.
Yeah, I know.
The basement.
They really. I'm gonna have a talk with Mattel about that.
Yeah, even though it was like a long time ago, but we're still gonna have a little talk about that. You know?
Well, they're bringing a lot of those old school toys back. Like I remember the Ninja Turtles pizza truck, the van where it shot like the pizzas out. Like I remember getting that for I think it was my 6th or 7th birthday, and that same one's out now. They just started making all those toys again from when I was a kid, and I was like, oh man, that's pretty dope. Same exact ones.
Yeah, like the real Ghostbusters. I have the new Slimer and Stay Puft, because now they're selling them at Walmart.
Tremendous.
But I do not have Egon or the team, which I really want freaking Egon because he's my favorite character.
You like Egon, the nerd.
Yes.
Okay. Who do you think my favorite one is?
Peter.
Venkman, always, all day.
Sarcastic.
Peter Venkman.
Yes.
Right? Yeah, that's so crazy. You got it. You knew it. 2 seconds.
Yeah, he's driving.
I was always a big. Huh?
He's driving my Ecto-1.
Oh, it's tremendous. I always loved Venkman and Winston. They were my favorite.
Yeah. Like, Ray is just, like, really childish. He is basically my spirit animal.
Ray's great.
Yeah, the thing is, I have him with the Ecto, what is it called? Proton Pack. And the stream is still attached. It still has the original stream.
You know what's crazy? One of my earliest memories, I guess I was just destined to work in the paranormal. I mean, one of my earliest memories ever, aside from the house that I grew up in, was my father. He used to work really late hours because he was the manager of a diner, and he'd come in after it would close. And I guess what he would do is, like, during the day, like between the lunch and dinner rush when it would quiet down, like he would go out and do errands and I think he'd get toys for my older brother and I.
Nice.
And I remember him waking us up. It was like 2:30 in the morning. Mm-hmm. My mom's like, "You're sleeping." He'd be like, "Ah, it's okay." Waking us up and bringing us the proton packs that you wear.
Oh my God,
like
yes.
The full thing. And I remember my older brother had broke his in like less than a day, and he wanted to play with mine. And I remember running away from him throughout the house, being like, "No!" Well, the apartment, it was small, but running throughout the apartment, being like, "No!" Like, I had my little thing. It was, oh my God, I'll never forget that.
Yeah.
That's great. I remember him waking me up and seeing it, and I was like, it was like, like one of the best days of my life. It was crazy.
Yeah, sadly I don't have the traps or anything, but I do have the revamped trap from Spear Halloween. It glows up and everything.
Yeah?
You probably can't even see it, but still showing it off to the camera.
Tremendous.
Yeah, it even opens. I'm very nice. Like, very nice.
Tremendous.
Yeah. Like, do you remember the Fright feature figures that they had?
No.
Like the ones like where you push their arm down and then like their head pops up or something?
Oh, yes.
I have all four of them.
You have them? You have the Egon
I have
one?
all four.
He was like, the eyes bug out and like the brain comes out and everything.
Yep.
Yeah. My friend used to put all of his toys in he'd make them wrestle each other, so he would like mimic the WWF or WWE storyline. And then Egon was in the league, but he wasn't called Egon because he called him Jonathan Smart, and he had Jonathan Smart. He just came up with these stupid names, and I remember he was telling me this, and I was like, "So when did you stop playing with these action figures?" And he'd be like, "I was 18 years old." I was like, "What?" He goes, "I was 18 years old and I stopped the Wrestling Federation and I ended it legitimately." I'm like, "Why?" He goes, "Because I was going into college." And I was like, "There's no way I could play with these in college." And I had to close that chapter in my life. He would do like a weekly show. Like he would have like a Monday Night Raw. He would have like, I swear, I'm not kidding. He would do like full pay-per-views with them and stuff like that, and he'd play with it. It was so funny.
Why did this sound like something I would do?
I'm telling you. Actually, I remember even years ago, because I've been friends with him for a while. I think I was like, he was filming this like movie, and I was helping him on it, and we had finished wrapping production. So I'm back at his house, and everyone, we were just tired because we were the ones doing most of the work. So all like the cast and crew, it was just independent film that never went anywhere, but like all the cast and like the crew, they all went out to go party, and he didn't really want to do that, and neither did I. So I went to his house, and he has this like nice house in like Central Jersey, and I was there, and we were just hanging around eating pizza. It was a bunch of dweebs, just everyone's going there in the club and they're doing all this cool stuff. Like, I think I was 23 at the time, and he was a year older than me. He was 24. So he had told me stories about the pay-per-views before, so I was like, "Hey, man," he's like, "What?" I said, "We should do a pay-per-view." He was like, "What?" And he still had all the toys, so he busted it out. We did a pay-per-view. With the toys. I got to tell you, it's tremendous.
I would actually do that. Not even going to I would do that.
Never grow up. I got to tell you, that's like the biggest problem. Think about any person you admire, like whether it's actor or artist or public figure or think about anyone you admire. I promise you, in their own way, they did not grow up. They're still a kid in their own way. So if you can hold on to that, the sky's the limit. It seriously is. Sky's the limit.
I'm probably never going to grow up, so.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. Please don't. Please never take yourself too seriously. You can take situations seriously, but don't take yourself too seriously.
All right. But yeah, after all this, I'll send you pictures of everything that I have.
Yeah. So send them out. I want to see them.
Yeah, like I even have a freaking Janine in there. Somehow.
Oh, you got a Janine toy?
Yeah. Yep, I got a Janine.
They didn't make a lot of Janines.
Nah. I got the one.
Made a lot of Venkmans.
Yeah, they had a lot of
Venkmans. A lot of Venkmans, a lot of Egons.
Yeah. But yeah. Yeah, the only thing that's broke is my Egon, which is not my fault.
Oh no.
It's because his tie.
Yeah, they all say.
Oh, shut up. Well, actually, it's two things. Because one of the Proton Pack streams broke from the old person that had it.
Yeah.
And then Egon's tie broke from the Fright figures.
Oh no.
Because, like, I'm sorry, it is so rare to come across him with his tie. Like, if I see him with a tie, you best believe making it rain on that person. I'm like, take my money, you can have it. Just give me the freaking action figure, like, right now.
You got time. Send me a picture of it, and I'll keep an eye out.
Okay. All right. So, shall we play a game?
Yep.
Okay, let me get the timer ready. Where's my time? Oh, there it is. Found it. Okay. Stopwatch. Okay. So this is rapid fire. So basically, I'm going to be asking questions. You just answer them. Okay?
Okay. Good.
Okay. Xbox or PlayStation?
PlayStation.
Darn it. Residential or commercial investigations?
Commercial.
Okay. Spiritus or SB7?
Neither.
Horror or adventure movies?
Adventure.
Late nights or early mornings?
Late nights.
Yeah.
And early mornings.
So dogs or cats?
I'm sorry?
Dogs or cats?
Dogs.
Yeah. Pizza or tacos?
Pizza.
Now the last question. Are there human ghosts underwater?
100%. Yes.
Okay. So you have one of the lowest scores on the thing. 51 seconds and 68 milliseconds. Ta-da! I did math.
Tremendous.
All right.
Is low bad or good?
That's actually pretty good. Like, somebody's had like 6 minutes before. It was really sad. Yeah. We don't talk about that. All right. Well, I'm starting to see the Shadow Man right in the corner, telling me that our time is almost over. So I'd really like to thank you for coming on, taking time out of your busy schedule to come on and chatting with myself and my listeners here on Spooky Talk.
You're amazing.
And before you do go, would you like to shout out any social medias that you may have?
Yeah, you can follow me on Instagram at mgatollari. It's MGATOLLARI. Twitter, Top Gatto. My old Twitter account got shut down because I was making fun of Zelda games too much, and I got reported. I'm too lazy to unlock it. And then Facebook, same thing, mgatollari. Yeah, and then just stay in touch. And if anybody has any questions for me, or if they ever want to reach out, anyone will tell you. I'm pretty good at getting back to people. So I love to talk anything paranormal or anything at all, really. As you can tell, talk about toys for 20 minutes. So do whatever.
Just a wrestling,
and wrestling.
Yeah, that too. Okay. So you have a great night.
You too.
Okay. So now, for all my listeners out there, I'd really like to say thank you for being with me tonight. My next show will be September 6th with Inda and Connor with Paranormal Encounters. Make sure, if you're not following me, give me a follow at Madison Paranormal Investigation on Facebook and Maddie_paranormal_investigation on Instagram. So for tonight, peace, love, and happiness. And most of all, be spoopy, everyone.
Thank you.